The first exercise is going to be dislocations. So dislocations, you want to use a stick, you can use a PVC pipe, you can use a resistance band, you can even use a broomstick. You're going to take the stick, grabbing your hands outside of your shoulders, starting with the bar in your lap, going over your head and touching your back. The key thing to remember, just make sure your arms are nice and straight, locking out the elbows. And also when you do this movement, you don't want it to stick. You want it to be pretty smooth when you're going overhead. So if it's sticking, widen your arms out a little further. If you do not have a stick, a pole, a resistance band, or anything you can use, just do arm circles. Make sure you cross your arms forward. And when we go back, make sure you're going backwards and reach far back as possible doing arm circles. All right, next, we're going to do walkouts. Walkouts, you are going to start with your feet apart wide enough to where you could put your hands on the ground right in between your feet. Then you are going to keep your legs straight, take a few steps with your hands, and go all the way out until you're in a nice, good plank position. That's part one. Then part two, same thing, but then we add a push-up in. This push-up is not an exercise that we're trying to build strength, merely to go through your pushing range of motion. So when you walk all the way out, I need you to go all the way down to the ground each time, pause, and then press back up. And when you walk back, make sure you're pushing your calves into the ground, keeping those legs straight. So then that way we will be getting a stretch in the hamstrings and the calf. Next, we're doing cat dog, cat cow. Some people call it several different things. We are doing extension and flexion of the spine is really what we're trying to achieve here. So get in a stack position, wrists, elbows, shoulders in a straight line, knees and hips in a straight line. You're going to push your spine all the way up, head down, exhale, then push your spine down, lift your head all the way up, and then inhale. After that, we are going to go some twist. We're working on some thoracic rotation. Take the elbow, touch your wrist, and then extend the hand or the elbow all the way to the sky. That's part one. Part two, taking the hand, go all the way underneath your chest to where your shoulder touches the ground, and then extend that opposite hand to the sky. So again, hand behind the head, taking the elbow, touching the wrist, and then getting that elbow to point towards the ceiling. Sometimes your knees are like moving in this position, in this movement. Try to keep your knees locked and fixed in the same position. Try not to let them move too much. And then after you finish a few repetitions with the half motion, then we're gonna go to full motion and hand all the way underneath. Opposite hand must bend, touching the shoulder to the ground, pointing the hand all the way to the roof. Next, honey pulls. This is going to stretch out the glutes and also somewhat of a hamstring stretch as well. Make sure you lift your knee up and then pull as high as you can, relaxing once you do that. This is just a side view so you can really get to see that hip and that glute flexing or stretching, excuse me. The next one after you do that is going to be what I call hip pulls. Now hip pulls, you cross your leg over in front of the other leg. You take your hands and you grab the knee and the shin. You're going to pull up, sort of like high knee pulls, but you do not pull the shin. You only pull from the knee. Pulling from the shin is going to cause your knee to twist, and you may experience some kind of pain when you do that. So hand on the knee, hand on the shin, only pulling the knee up. Again, this is to stretch the glute as well, just in a little different position. And then after we do that bad boy, the next one in the series is going to be a hamstring stretch. So this one, you bend down, locking that leg out. The key thing with this is to point that toe up, and then you're going to touch the ground in front of your foot and then behind your foot. That is key as well. The stretch becomes a little bit different when you stretch in front of your foot. It's actually easier than when we go behind your foot. It's a little bit more. And like I said, this is definitely a hamstring stretch, but doing it this way with the toe up, we actually get some calf stretching and some slight Achilles stretching as well. And next up is going to be quad pull. This is to stretch out the quadriceps, flex the hamstrings, and also we need to stretch out the hip flexors as well. That reach is what I'm doing to be able to add and stretch the hamstring, to stretch the hip flexor. That's why we're reaching to the ceiling and doing a calf raise as well. Try to get your foot to your butt is the goal when we're doing this exercise. Pull, 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 and toe raise. Last one in the bunch is my favorite one of all. We're talking about Spiderman. You're going to get in this lunge position. You're going to have one hand, one foot, and the other foot on the ground. You're going to take that elbow, touch the foot that's in the front, and then reach and twist to the sky. And like always, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Get that elbow all the way down to the foot. And if you advance in this motion, you can only get your elbow all the way down to the ground. Make sure you're not just pushing your elbow down, but you're actually sinking the hips down to the ground. I wanted to show you the front angle of this exercise as well. You're trying to get a straight line when we twist from the hand on the ground to the hand that's in the sky. Again, push those hips down, down, down. Do not just actually push your elbow to your feet, but definitely pushing those hips down. Great stretch throughout your lower body. Great stretch throughout your spine. Your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings are all getting stretched out.